Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Desperately Writing Simone. I'd like to extend gratitude for you in tuning in. Today, I'd like to talk about a thief called comparison. And this is going to be from a series that I'm going to start called Prison Blues, meaning things that keep us as prisoners, which is no good for us, not beneficial at all in certain ways, and stuff that affect us in a negative way. So, welcome. I came across this video short while I was scrolling YouTube, and her name is, I think, Kayla Ariel, Ariel. And I came across her. She was talking to Juliet Ross. And it was a little short. And it was talking about, she said something about she didn't have time to be worrying about, others, like via social media. At the time, she didn't have social media. So she didn't have time because it was taking away time from her and God. Time from her prior time and etc. So while I was listening to it, because she's mentioned about what happens a lot of times is that we start to compare ourselves to others, being like subscribed to this channel and there's a lot of channels that people have been subscribed to and they don't, but the way how certain stuff presents itself to people, if you're in a bad place, like you have low self-esteem or you think you're not where you're supposed to be, it's going to affect you in a negative way if you let it. So I saw this short now and it was like gut-wrenching. It was like I was like punched in the gut because in the moment I realized, I was comparing myself to others and it was making me sad. And more so that in my mind's eye, I'm like, I should have been further along than I am, and it's just this looping because I suffer from anxiety. Stuff like that just keeps replaying in my mind, and stuff that I should have been further along. And then I'm measuring up myself to people. And then I had to go and do a whole purging, unsubscribing from certain channels, shutting down certain social media and stuff, because it was really, really taking time away, from me and God and stuff that I'm supposed to be doing to really further myself, and we can't just sit around and like compare ourselves, because then it's gonna affect us in the long run because we're comparing ourselves to others, and then the others that we're comparing ourselves to, they don't even know that we exist. They don't. They're doing their own thing, and we're over here like coveting, or wishing that, oh, I wish I was like that, And in a sense, I was like, it was affecting me that way because I'm like, I should have been further along, and stuff. But then I learned in the past couple of years that I'm neurodivergent and my mind just, and along with other factors, that caused me to be like slow in doing certain things and accomplishing certain things. But, I'm just saying all of this like to encourage people because comparison is a thief. It takes away a lot of times because in our minds we're like ruminating, we're going over stuff over and over again. I should have done this then, and I should have done this, and I should have accomplished this, and I should have done this by now. And we're doing this, off of what we've seen. Then we get mad at God. Like, you know, why didn't you notify me of this? Why didn't you notify me of that? Because I was mad when I found out, you know, like, couldn't God have like alerted me earlier, you know, and stuff like that? So I'm just saying that we have to be careful comparing ourselves to others because number one, we don't know what others have done to reach where they're going. We don't know the blood, the sweat, and the tears. We don't know about that. Or we don't know if they've done stuff that is illegal, you know, to get to where they're going, whether it's good stuff or bad stuff. We have no business comparing ourselves. And then a lot of us, we fall into that rut because, you know, we have that mindset because our caregivers, you know, were comparing us to others. So that's another factor, not just caregivers, society, churches that we've been to, people who were, you know, supposed to be like managing us and whatnot, and they like basically mismanage us. So all of that, you know, um, contributes to how we behave in certain instances. So I'm going to read an excerpt from my journal that I wrote shortly after this. So here goes. So I'm reading it from one of my favorite journals that's completed. So it goes, yesterday I deleted Facebook, TikTok, even though I hardly ever use them, and deactivated Instagram for now. I also unsubscribed from a lot of YouTube channels, and I still have more to go. I'm committed to this. Truth of the matter is that I've been subconsciously comparing myself with others that don't even know that I exist. I envy them for being neurotypical, for speaking without tripping over their words, not saying the right word, or just forgetting their words. I always think that I should have been further along, and seeing people thrive stabs me in the heart when I think about it. I'm glad that YouTube suggested this short of Juliet Ross because I didn't realize how detrimental social media was becoming to my psyche. And to think that in 2021, I wrote about the dangers of social media on my psyche, and 3 years later, I'm in the thick of it. I clearly didn't govern myself accordingly. Anyway, I'm not mad at myself because I did learn a lot and I also grew, even though I'm my biggest critic. I have more distractions to hurdle, eliminate, and to handle accordingly to enhance my life. But thank you, God, for helping me to see where I'm at. Thank you for working on me, giving me grace, and understanding me with all my attitudes and challenges. Help me to be kinder to myself, knowing that I'm one of one, not duplicated, incomparable, and incomparable. So that was my excerpt that I wrote, my entry that I wrote shortly after watching this YouTube channel of this short. And I actually went to watch the whole thing. So just in case you want to watch it, her name is Kayla, Khaila, Ariel, Arieel. No, Ariel. And she had Juliet Ross on it. So if you know, put it in the search bar, it will come up. And I trust and hope that you learn something from it. So 2 Corinthians 10 verse 12 talk about not comparing yourself to anyone. And it reads, this is the New King James Version. Oh, don't worry. We wouldn't dare say that we are as wonderful as these men who tell you how important they are. But they are only comparing themselves with each other, using themselves as a standard of measurement. How ignorant. So you see what the apostle was saying. It's very ignorant to compare yourself to others. Because, like I said, we don't know how they got where they're going. And what it does, it brings covetousness. It leads people to do a lot of stuff, a lot of evil, because people have been really, you know, covetous, or they're coveting what you have. I remember years ago when there was this popular jacket. It had an 8 ball. It had an 8 ball on it. And I remember people were like unaliving people for that 8 ball jacket. Not just that, there were also unaliving people for, I think it was the iPods or the little music, Zooms, iPods, cell phones, shearling jackets, leather jackets, Air Jordans, and the list goes on. So don't compare yourself to anyone. God made you who He wants you to be, and He doesn't want us to compare ourselves to anyone. It's a slap in His face when we do comparisons, when we compare, it's not good for us, not good for us at all. And in 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1, it talks about if you're going to imitate someone, to imitate the Lord. And you should imitate me just as I imitate Christ. And this is the Apostle Paul speaking. And that's the best person to imitate anyway, the Lord, because, we're striving to be like Him. To be more like Him. The songwriter said, Lord, I want to be more like you. I want to be a vessel that you could use. Lord, I want to be more like you. And that is who you should strive to be. That is who I should strive to be. Okay? So I trust and hope that you enjoy this little segment. It's a prison blues, I call it, because comparison is a thief. And it could really imprison us, creating strongholds and stuff like that, would just keep us locked up in a prison. So that was my journal entry. I wrote a little poem about a thief called comparison. So I'm going to read it for you. Okay. This is a book. I love to write. So this is a book. I got like 4 of them from the dollar store and whatnot. And this is how it looks. So I just enter my poems in here. Well, this is like one of the books that I enter my poems. And I have other books and journals. So, all right, here goes. Oh, not the ice cream truck. This is called A Thief Called Comparison. I've been living and partnering with a thief called comparison, cohabitating with this fool, granted to me by vicious tongues, pronouncing a verdict of fatalities, causing self-fulfilling prophecies, which spiraled into contempt for my temple. Comparison is a master thief, skilled in its craft, alienating on one hand, pressuring you to keep up with the Joneses on the other. It will break you spiritually, bankrupt you physically, deplete you mentally, sidetracking or shelving your will from honing and owning your masters of your true self of expression, as copyrighted by your master builder, God. The end. So that's my little poem that I wrote on A Thief Called Comparison. So like I said, if you're going to compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to the Lord. Imitate him. We know he's way greater than we are, but that's just how it is. We can't keep on, bankrupt ourselves keeping up with the Joneses. Well, trying to keep up with the Joneses and whatever. It's no good for us. It's no good for our healing. It's no good for our spiritual being. It's not good for us at all. So I'm glad that you enjoy this segment. Until next time, have a good week. Sincerely, desperately writing, Simone. Bye-bye.